lost 3 in a row in the league. They did win their last Conference League game though against Crystal Palace. An excellent 2-1 win for Liam Rosenior's side. They had the youngest squads in Europe's major leagues, an average age of just 21 years old. And when you look at the lineup tonight, Ben Chilwell at 28 is very much the senior. No other player is over 22 or 23 I should say years old, so it's an exceptionally young lineup, but they have quality throughout Strasbourg, and they certainly have that relationship with Chelsea, owned by Bluecoat, and that has brought them on a level but also caused a lot of angst amongst supporters who feel they've become a feeder club for Chelsea, but something the club denies. But there's no doubt players pass back and forward, and 4 have come from Chelsea in the Strasbourg lineup tonight. So awaiting on the referee, who is Robert Schröder of Germany, and he blows the whistle, and Topi Keskinen goes all the way back to Dimitar Mitov, who goes long with the right boot. And Aberdeen again, Strasbourg's underway, and immediately it's Carlson on the left hand side. He tries to get the cross, and it blocks. Drops for Aushish, the Frenchman, up against many of his compatriots tonight, and it breaks forward from Devlin, gets a toe on it, and it hits off Martial Godot and goes out for an Aberdeen throw-in just over the halfway line, which Dylan Lobin will take. So a positive start from Aberdeen, showing some intent. Lobin throws it down the line to Lazetic, he lets it bounce and then tries to use his strength, which he does, to get away from one, but then Rafael Luis, the midfielder, covered for Strasbourg, and then Chilwell gets a nudge and has to concede the corner.
Well, it's positive, isn't it, from Aberdeen right from the start. The Mitov long diagonal out to Carlson it was on the left hand side, and then plenty pressure put on the visitors to get them tested early and win in the corner.
And it will be Stuart Armstrong to take from this near side, and he's going to go short, pulls it back to Aushish, corner of the box, Curler with the right foot onto Lobin's head. He didn't get a connection on it, bounces though for Milne, who sends the shot wide of the target, but it's taken a deflection on its way through, so it'll be another Aberdeen corner on the far side this time.
Yeah, a really awkward one for Jack Milne to take there, but he made a very good fist of it. The deflection took it over the bar rather than him being off balance and trying to get it on target. One out the training field, that I would suggest, and a decent one that caused problems.
The referee is speaking to Lazetic among others in there, as there's a bit of pushing and pulling going on. Armstrong waits to take from the far side this time, in front of the south stand here at Pittodrie. And Aberdeen's last result in this competition, the 1-1 against Armenian side Noah, was a big disappointment. This is a positive start against a much better side. This corner to the near post is a poor one, and it's cleared away by Goela Doué, who is the brother of Paris Saint-Germain's Désiré Doué, the Champions League winner last season, of course, and a fully fledged French international. Both came through at Rennes, as Carlson gives it back to Armstrong, who's on the far side, and then a curling ball, and it's not really convincingly dealt with by Strasbourg, eventually forced away. Knuster halfway up Strasbourg's half. Jensen now, Armstrong rolls it down the line for Carlson. Carlson dummies the cross, he's pursued closely by Amugu, the midfielder, and then Aberdeen have won it back, and then it's given away, and now Strasbourg will look to break, and this is where it's dangerous for Aberdeen, as Godot gives it out to Amo Amayo, and then good pressure from Lazetic as they go back to Omobamidele, the Ireland international, and the goalkeeper Penders, the Belgian, who's on loan from Chelsea. He's a young goalkeeper, and he'll certainly do that, which is take risks on his own goal line. Got away with it there, and Strasbourg look to play out. That is how they play, from back to front, and it's curled out to Doué. Immediately Carlson's onto him though, and he puts the challenge in, out for a Strasbourg throw on the far side. Aberdeen really aggressive, Willie.
It's a high press. I was looking at their midfield, and they don't really have a deep line midfield player that you would recognise as more defensive minded. Aushish is playing in that position just now, so it is that high press. So Jimmy Tillene hoping that they can put real pressure on Strasbourg high up the park.
Amugu forwards to Nzingula, young midfield for Strasbourg. Jensen a bit overeager there and clips the heels of the winger Samuel Amo Amayo, who played under Russell Martin at Southampton. And Strasbourg go short and back to the goalkeeper with a free kick. And the goalkeeper's well outside his penalty box. And when you watch the game against Crystal Palace, he got caught twice. And Palace missed open goals from about 25-30 yards as they went down 2-1. Certainly didn't take a leaf out of Kenny McLean's book, and that's good feet from Amo Amayo on the far side, and he's caught there. Free kick is given, just short of halfway. It's goalless after 4 minutes between Aberdeen and Strasbourg, but it's all in the Strasbourg half, Willie.
Yeah, it's impressive. I think looking at the starting lineup, then I was anticipating that it was going to be on the front foot, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Big task for the back five, right enough to make sure that they're solid and don't get caught on the counter.
And Jensen, he's done well to win it off Amo Amayo, but it was going back towards his own goal and didn't have many options. Strasbourg have it at the back on Mobamedele. Back to Penders, the goalkeeper, just 20 years old, on loan from Chelsea. They paid £17 million for him from Genk. Really highly rated young goalkeeper getting his chance in the French top flight. Runs for an Aberdeen throw-in in their own half. Aberdeen finished their campaign away to Sparta Prague next Thursday. Will that be a dead rubber is the question. Aberdeen need to win to prevent that tonight, because they're on 2 points. 8 would probably be enough to go through. So in need of all 3 this evening against a very good side. As Aushish lets it run across his body just short of halfway, and then he's clipped one in behind for Dylan Lobin, who picks up. Lobin flicks it back with the studs and gives it to Armstrong. Armstrong back to Lobin. Lobin got 2 on him, and he puts the head down and drives for the byline. Has to check back. It's Chilwell, and then it's Aushish whips one into the box, but it was quite far away from the target, and there was no one in a red jersey there. It goes back for Milne. Challenge from Jensen. It breaks into midfield, and it's passed away to Amo Amayo. He's over halfway on the right wing. Jensen gets back in, and the winger pauses and then rolls it to Matisse Amugu. He is another one who went from Saint Etienne to Chelsea in February for £13 million, and then within a few months he was moving to Strasbourg for a similar fee. It's multi-club ownership in action for you. Roma have gone 1-0 up against Celtic at Celtic Park. That one's on BBC Radio Scotland FM on Sounds as booking comes out for Mats Knuster as he tried to stop a counter-attack there.
Yeah, I mean, he deserved the booking. He just dragged his opponent to the ground there. I think it's all very well being in the front foot and going forward, and certainly try to cause problems early on, but you've got to think defensively as well. Chilwell with a first time cross, and Devlin heads it into the box, and it's awkward for Aberdeen. Now bounces for Lobin, who clears it over his head to the corner of the box, and the youngsters to battle further and concedes the throw in. Strasbourg quickly up the pitch. It was Rabi Nzingula who showed fast feet to get away from Knuster and win the free kick, and it was immediately switched out to this near side where Chilwell put it in the box first time on the volley. Now it's the throw in as the teenager Kendry Pais, who's playing as a sort of false 9 for Strasbourg, plays it backwards. Now it's Nzingula. Now Doué for Luis. Oh, he's miscontrolled that, and that allows Keskinen to run after it, but the defender's got a toe on it. But Aushish is going to go in a foot race with Mobamedele. He wins it as well. He gets it near the corner flag. Aushish turns, gives it to Keskinen, and the return pass is just behind Adil Aushish, and it goes out for a throw in to Strasbourg. And another bright moment for Aberdeen. Yeah, it was a mistake obviously, but Aberdeen taking advantage of it. You just feel that Keskinen, he needs to show more composure. I think he's got great energy. He'll get you up the park. He's got great athleticism as well. But see, once he gets it, he's just got to think a little bit more about what's required, and giving away the ball quite so easily. I'm sure Jimmy Tulane wouldn't be happy with that. Here's Armstrong. Oh, that's brilliant, away from Pais, and he's going towards the box. Armstrong then gives it to Keskinen on the byline, pulls it across, and it's dealt with by Haugsberg at the near post, and then Chilwell thumps it into the sky and onto the roof of the main stand at Pittodrie. Well, that's what Stuart Armstrong brings to the game, isn't it? I mean, quality, and he's shown it. He's shown it in every game that I'm watching. I just wonder if he can squeeze himself back into the international squad, because he's playing at a level that surely would be catching the manager's eye. But he's got to keep that going. He's a really important player for Aberdeen. He's someone that can create, and Aberdeen don't have too many of them with the composure to create in and around the box.
No, when you look at Armstrong and Jesper Karlsson are the ones who have competed at this level against a team like Strasbourg in their career regularly, and the rest, it's far less experience given away by Pius Armstrong. Now a chance for Lazetic, brilliant touch, Lazetic deflected wide. Oh, what a chance that was for Marko Lazetic. Did nearly everything right, but the defender got a crucial touch.
He did. It just lacked the finish though. I thought he didn't really catch it as he latched onto it inside the box. It was a slack play and a little slick pass to him. I think he's got to set it up better, and he's certainly got to finish. To be fair, I felt as though, the park looks great, but I thought it took a little wicked bounce there for the striker, which added to his problems.
Corner hoisted into the 6-yard box. Keeper comes, doesn't get anywhere near it, but it comes off an Aberdeen head and goes well wide of the target. I think it was Devlin who went up. And it remains Aberdeen 0, Strasbourg 0 after 10 minutes, but Aberdeen being the better side.
Oh, without doubt. Far better. Penders there. I thought he slipped. Didn't see any contact at all. I think the goalkeeper came out. He lost his foot and he went to ground, and he was fortunate that it wasn't an Aberdeen head on the end of that. Otherwise, that would have been the opening goal.
Penders gets it off his defender and then gives it back to Omo Bamadele, who's pressed by Karlsson. Passed round him to Luis and then out to Doué. That's the opportunity Strasbourg are trying to work to get it round Aberdeen, but they're forcing them back again. Rafael Luis, the player who has come from the famed Benfica academy, gives it to Hogsberg and then into Pice, and he's given it away again. He's struggled so far. The South American who's been asked to kind of play up front. He's not a striker of sorts, on loan from Chelsea. As Knuster goes across the pitch, he's under severe pressure from Nzingula, who's already given him a bit of a torrid time, and has to concede the throw-in over on the far side. 600 or so Strasbourg fans here at Pitaudry, holding up some sort of banner. It says "Non à la multipropriété," which I think will translate as no to multi-club ownership, as they continue to protest against the fact, as I mentioned, they share the same owners as Chelsea, who are using the club to bring through a lot of players. As it's played in behind now, chance, it's Godot, pulls it back, low shot straight at Mitov. It was Pice who got the low strike away, comfortable for the Aberdeen keeper.
It was, the flag eventually went up. I thought that it was offside. The guys made his run through. Jack Milne certainly thought that he was offside. The hand was up, and it looked as though it was a couple of yards in it. Certainly there was.
When it breaks for Lazetic here, 30 yards out, gives it to Lobin now. Dylan Lobin looks up. He's not got too many options, has to go back to Auchiche. Auchiche for Armstrong. He's been very busy in this game and set up Lazetic for that brilliant chance as Jensen gives it to Karlsson on the touchline. Karlsson comes inside. Armstrong. 12.5 minutes played. It's Aberdeen 0, Strasbourg 0. And it's a run forward from Armstrong, and then he tries to curl the cross in, and he's won another corner kick for Aberdeen.
Good positive running, confident running as well. Stuart Armstrong down the left-hand side. Very difficult to deal with when he's in this sort of mood, and one in a corner. I think the last one from that side wasn't particularly well delivered by Stuart, so you would hope that the delivery would be much better.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been the best player on the pitch so far. Can he deliver a dangerous ball here from the far side? Both arms up, ready to take. Curls one into the 6-yard box. Knuster with a header. Goal! Aberdeen take the leads, and it is thoroughly deserved. Mats Knuster rises to head in Armstrong's corner, and it is Aberdeen 1, Strasbourg 0.
Yeah, I mean, he does extremely well, although the goalkeeper's all over the place. He does not look confident, I would suggest. The young goalkeeper, Penders, he comes out, he's in no man's land. They're complaining all over the place that he was impeded. I don't see it myself. and Canuster just times his run perfectly and gets the little nod on it. The goal is totally empty, so there's no one on the line, there's no one defending. The goalkeeper is in no man's land, and Canuster just nods it, a little kind of a nod of the forehead, down low into the back of the net.
It is Mats Knuster's first Aberdeen goal, and he has thoroughly enjoyed it in front of a buoyant Pittodrie crowd who have seen a fantastic start, where they have outplayed Strasbourg and now have the goal to show for it. But we await for a VAR check here as the officials pore over the footage, and yeah, that's why the boos are going around the stadium now. Mats Knuster waiting to see if this goal stands.
Well, it's not Canuster, I don't think, that is in any bother. The goalkeeper tries to get himself out of his goal line. The referee's handball.
Oh, and it's
where is the handball?
Disallowed for handball.
Wow.
So that is hugely disappointing from Aberdeen's point of view. Mats Knuster's goal will not stand. I didn't see that in the batch of replays we initially saw, Willie, but it must be a factual overturn here. I would have thought it was a handball, then they would have sent him over to double check it, but maybe if it's obvious. Yeah,
the only thing I can think of is that when Canuster goes up, he heads the ball down, and perhaps it's grazed his hand as he's headed it down, because it goes really low into the back post corner. And that's the only thing I can think of. Didn't see anything, to be perfectly honest. I felt that the players, the Strasbourg players, were complaining, because the goalkeeper was impeded, but that's not the case.
Yeah, well, obviously if it does come off an arm and then ends up in the back of the net, it's automatically ruled out. So that's the reason as to why the referee wouldn't have been called over, as I mentioned earlier. So disappointment for Aberdeen, because you have to say their play merited the leads, but they have to, I suppose, Willie, just make sure that doesn't kind of take the sting out of things and just keep pressing.
Yeah.
We're just looking at a replay here. Oh, it does come off his arm, I think, now that I'm looking at it.
It's so congested at the back post, isn't it? Totally accidental. It seems to have hit an arm, not a hand. Didn't get a clear view of it myself, but seemed to be some kind of a indication that it was a handball or an armball.
Yeah, so it remains Aberdeen 0, Racing Strasbourg 0. Nearly played 17 minutes at Pittodrie. It's been an encouraging start for Aberdeen. Rangers going down 2-1 to Ferencváros in Budapest earlier, and Celtic trailing Roma by 1-0 at home. As Aberdeen look to play out from the back here, it's Mats Knuster just outside his box, goes back to Mitov, who takes a touch and decides to get rid under pressure. Goes all the way over the halfway line to Chilwell, who heads it to Högsberg, the centre back, and through to Penders, the goalkeeper, into Luis, the midfielder, around the corner for Högsberg. The centre back is Penders, then chips it long. Milne's underneath it and plays it out on the volley for a throw in just over halfway. Aberdeen unbeaten in 8 games now since Hibs won here. On the back of that thumping in Athens, it's been a real marked improvement from Jimmy Tulline's men. That's also seen them move into the top 6 in the Premiership, and another big game to come here on Sunday against Kilmarnock, who are without a win in 10 games, as Chilwell plays it down the line. Milne goes across, plays it forward, and the offside flag goes up. So free kick to Aberdeen, live on Sports on BBC Radio Scotland Extra.
Yeah, I think the order of the day would be to test the goalkeeper Penders with as many crosses as you possibly can, particularly at corners, because he looks all at sea. He looks nervous, he's uncertain, he gets himself involved with bodies in front, and he's went to ground on a couple of occasions. So I think that is definitely a tactic that Aberdeen should employ in this game, and a little bit unfortunate, and I think the fans obviously are disappointed that goal didn't stand.
And it's brilliant pressure again from Aberdeen. Carlson forces the mistake from Douay, and it gives Aberdeen a throw in Strasbourg's half. They've recycled it back through the defence, and a big switch out to Lobban, who controls it magnificently. Chilwell follows him back, and he gives it to Devlin. Devlin wearing the captain's armband again for Aberdeen, with Shinnie on the bench. Keskinen for Polvara. The only change from the weekend win over Dundee is it's clipped down the line for Keskinen, and Devlin was caught late there by Kendry Pais. And the referee is going to bring out a yellow card as well for the young Ecuadorian.
Yeah, listen, I don't think there was too much in it, but at the same time, he goes in late. Pais, he's nowhere near winning the ball. I think it's rather silly. I'm getting a yellow card at this stage of the game for something that he didn't need to get involved in.
He's going chasing it, I think, isn't he? Because he's given it away a couple of times. He's struggled, so I think he's just trying to make up for it, the young man. But he's caught Devlin on the top of the foot. Another one of the players on loan from Chelsea. Pais, it's a long ball up towards Lazatic, who's certainly occupying the Strasbourg defenders back there. They play a back three, sort of similar formation to Aberdeen in their league games, but they've gone with four at the back in all their European games so far. As it's back to Hogsberg, and Penders controls the edge of his 6-yard box, left foot, chip out to Doué, who leaps and heads it down and into Nzingula. He is trying to get away from Aushish and squeezes it back to Omobamadele, and then Penders again back to Andrew Omobamadele, the 23-year-old Irishman, as Penders recycles for Hogsberg. Chilwell's on the touchline, forward though for Pais, who's playing that false 9 position. It goes up to the halfway line, but Milne is first to it, and he can just put it through to the goalkeeper, but he probably had a wee bit more time than he thought there, Jack Milne, but good anticipation nonetheless.
Yeah, he's had a good season. He's really matured this season after not getting too many games last season, but
oh, and here's a chance now as it's played into Chilwell. He's inside the area. It's Ben Chilwell, saved by Mitov. Big stop from the Aberdeen goalkeeper to deny Ben Chilwell the opening goal for Strasbourg.
I think he should square it. It's a really tight one. Mitov does well, but he's got 2 white jerseys to choose. In fact, I'm looking at a little replay here. There's 3. He goes for the worst option in my opinion. I think in that position, you drill it across the face of the goal. It could easily come off a red jersey. You could find one of your own men as well. Good opportunity wasted.
So Strasbourg's first corner, Aberdeen have had 4, and Ben Chilwell has dusted himself down after that chance was saved, and it's an out-swinging corner missed by Aberdeen and the Strasbourg player who fresh-aired it, and now it's Keskinen's header. Amo Amayo back to Amugu, and now it's Martial Godo gives it to Chilwell, and Rafael Luis to Amugu, and now Doué, and it's a bit slow and pedestrian from Strasbourg at the moment, as Liam Rossignol, 41-year-old Englishman, gives some instructions out on the touchline. A highly rated young coach, arrived from Hull City a couple of seasons ago, where he was perhaps harshly sacked for failing to get them into the playoffs. Missed out by 3 points as Aberdeen win it and break, and it goes to Carlson. Good intervention by Doué. And now it's Nzingula, the midfielder, galloping over halfway, gives it to Pais. Pais going forward, gets a little shove from Keskinen, play on. Nzingula with a shot, deflected, breaks for Aushish, who's now waiting for an option, and gives it to Lobin in the corner of his own area, and good composure from Lobin to then clip it to Lazatic. That looked like a shove on the Aberdeen striker, and the referee I think is just playing advantage. He was going to give the free kick, but Aberdeen still have it. It's now Carlson on the touchline. Just over halfway, Jesper Carlson goes back to Stuart Armstrong. Armstrong to Jack Milne. And this is an engrossing game between 2 evenly matched teams on the evidence of the first 23 minutes. And certainly you would say Aberdeen have certainly shaded it in terms of the chances. And obviously that disallowed goal as Milne dithers and gets closed down, and he's conceded a really needless corner.
Yeah, I got to think a little bit sharper than what he did on that occasion, Jack Milne. And I felt that Mitov didn't really give him much options as well. You know, I thought that Mitov could have come out towards his right, and it would have been a simple. In fact, that's what Jack Milne tried to play, but Mitov wasn't there, and they put too much on it. And it's an opportunity now from the corner. I'm sure Jack Milne and Mitov will be hoping that nothing comes of it.
Yeah, they'll be keen to clear the danger here as Ben Chilwell places the ball in the quadrant and strides back. Still Celtic 0, Roma 1 in the Europa League tonight, as the ball is blown out of the quadrant at typically blustery Pataudry. It's not very cold for this time of year up here, certainly, but it's still windy. Coming in from the beach is Chilwell with the outswinger right to the back post, and it's missed by everyone again, and Aberdeen get away with it as Lobban clears the second attempt, and now Aushish, and he's dropped it over the top. Carlson in a foot race here. Carlson and the defender. Well, it's actually Amugu, the midfielder, tracking back, just gets ahead on it and goes back to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I was quite thinking though, you know, the ball played forward, and Carlson, I would have fancied him in the foot race, but was it the midfielder Amugu did extremely well to cover his defence there. But Aberdeen looking a little bit suspect from corner kicks, not really picking up all the white jerseys. Too many, you know, opportunities, nothing taken yet. But I think the organisation and the marking in the box has got to be a lot brighter.
Yeah, well, it'd been a problem all season up until the run of clean sheets, and then it kind of reared its head again in the last two against St Mirren, and then Dundee, of course. Ryan Astley scoring from a corner at the weekend. Not that it ended up making the difference in terms of the result, as Aberdeen ran out 3-1 winners. Jensen penalised just inside the Strasbourg half, and the French side will recycle it. Strasbourg back in the main draw of European competition for the first time since the 2005-6 UEFA Cup. They were in the qualifiers a couple of years ago, but they went bankrupt in 2012 and reformed in the fifth tier of French football and worked their way back up by 2017-18, and then the takeover by Blueco, as I mentioned, the owners of Chelsea in 2023, has given them access to some of the world's best young players, but for some it is blurred the identity, the strong identity of the club in the Alsace region of France, right on the German border, and it's all the way through to Penders, the goalkeeper, and we're just looking at a shot in the TV cameras of David Weir, and the former Scotland defender who is the sporting director of Strasbourg.
And a very fine player too, you've got to say, and what an opportunity he's got to be sporting director at this club.
Absolutely, and now there's a break on Amo Amayal, great pace up to the edge of the box, he's lightning quick. Aberdeen have numbers back, but it's Chilwell, stands it up to the back post, in Ginzula with a thigh towards goal, and it goes up in the air by Devlin. That wasn't convincing, but Mitov fills him out and comes and gathers, and it remains Aberdeen 0, Strasbourg 0 after 26.5 minutes.
Yeah, at times Aberdeen looking a little bit nervous, a little bit uncertain at the back. That certainly hasn't been the trait of you know, recent games. You know, but I think at the same time they're looking to get as many men forward as possible, so maybe you shouldn't be surprised that at times they're leaving themselves just a little bit exposed at the back.
Yeah.
See Lazatic there, I know you're watching him. I just wish he wouldn't get so close to the centre backs. He seems to always want to grapple with a centre back rather than do a Majowski and play on the shoulder and drift away, and you know, don't give the centre back a target. I think he's still got to learn that. Still a very young striker, but that would certainly help his game. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, he's got good size about him, good presence, but I mean, he kind of fell over there, just getting entangled with the defender as Chilwell picks out Kendry Pice in space, and he's galloping up into the Aberdeen half, ball in behind for Godo. Godo wide of the target, good covering from Jack Milne, and he's now forced him outside the penalty area on this near side. Strasbourg growing into this game. Godo, Chilwell with a cross right on top of Mitov, who gathers above his head. And just since the disallowed goal, Willie, it's Aberdeen have struggled a bit.
It's fallen away, isn't it? And you know, that's another incident that where Jack Milne has got to think more. Godo running, you know, from his left-hand side in behind him. That's an important part of being a central defender, particularly when you're the last central defender as well. And Jack Milne will find himself in that situation on a number of occasions. He's got to think more about his game.
Lazatic again getting involved as it runs through to the defender, who gives it to Penders, and now it's Amugu into Pais, and then it's Chilwell in his own half, and across to Hogsburg. As I mentioned, Strasbourg just kind of struggling for goals in their last few games. They were nilled by Toulouse at the weekend. It breaks for Lazatic here. He's a bit isolated, but he's got it wide of the box. Turns back. Now he's got support. Well, Jensen was there, doesn't give it to him, now does. And then Jensen first time away to Armstrong. Good play from Aberdeen, not much room. There's 3 round Jensen and Armstrong, and Jensen tries to play it to Armstrong, and it's won by Douay, who did a little turn and then almost loses it, but Amugu now has it, and he's picked a really good pass for Luis on the edge of the box. Pice has had it pocket picked, and now it's Sheesh! Oh, just over the top with a shot. But Aberdeen pouncing on mistakes from Strasbourg again. 0-0 though.
Hey, that's not far away, is it? Sheesh, not looking like scoring a goal and then getting his 2 against Dundee, and that's a great effort from him. Just pounces on it outside the box. He's just trying to curl it with the right foot into the top right hand corner. It just grazes the post, and it's just not far away from hitting that postage stamp. That would have been another fabulous goal from him.
Absolutely, trying to get his foot right round it. I do wonder whether he could have just tried to get it on target and hope the keeper spilled it, because there were other players in and around it, but he went for it and wasn't a million miles away, that's for sure, as Jensen is fouled on the far side. Aberdeen free kick. Half an hour played, Aberdeen 0, Strasbourg 0, but hugely encouraging performance from Aberdeen in the main.
Yeah, they're back at it, aren't they? I thought they'd lost the initiative for maybe 10 minutes there after the goal was disallowed, and it seemed to take them a little bit of time to recover, but they've got that energy back, they've got that press back, they've got the high line back as well, so it's looking good as we go to half time.
She's clips it in, but it's straight down the middle, and it's a bit of a waste from Aberdeen as they went short, and then she's delivered, but to no one, and now the goalkeeper sends it long. Lobin's underneath it. Brilliant clearance on the volley between 2 players, and Chilwell has stolen about 10 yards there, and he flings it down the line for Pice, and Lobin, good challenge, excellent defending from the 20-year-olds. Another dream for him as an Aberdeen fan to play on European nights like these.
Yeah, he'll be loving it, won't he? Coming in and not just getting the opportunity but taking the chance, and that's the key to any youngster coming in to a club like Aberdeen, is when you get that opportunity, you've got to go and grasp it, you've got to believe in your own ability, and he's certainly done that, and that was just an example of the coolness and quality that the young man showing so far. Him and Jack Milne, testament to the good work that's been done in the development programme.
Absolutely, as Pice drops in for Chilwell, who hits it first time with the outside of the boot, won by Knuster, bounces in the centre circle, Luis sends it back, Knuster is under it again, then Armstrong gets a toe on it, Lazatic is tussling with the defender, goes down, looks at the referee who wags his finger at him, tells him no free kick. I have to say, I didn't really think it was a free kick myself.
No free kick, no, it's rather clumsy. I think of Lazatic again getting, from my point of view, getting far too close to the centre back and actually bumping into him. With no chance of winning that ball.
Hogsberg trying to take on Keskinen, had no chance there, and he's knocked it straight to Lobin. Now it's back to Keskinen, who returns it all the way back to Dimitar Mitov. He's in his box and sends it long. Just the one save from the Aberdeen goalkeeper. He's not been too busy in this opening half, and Aberdeen pinch it. Carlson, and he's trying to turn in a phone box there. There's 3 round him. He's still battling with it, but eventually Amugu wins the ball. Now it's Pice. He's in the centre circle. The Ecuadorian international, Chilwell, knocks it inside, but again it's read by Al-Shish, and he's caught by Luis, and he's going to be yellow carded. But Adil Al-Shish, he's been a menace just picking up those scraps, Willie, in midfield.
Yeah, he's been working extremely hard and closing down the opposition. There wasn't much in that yellow card given to the Strasbourg player, but for me, I don't know, was there contact? It might have been contact, but it was minor contact as he went down. Certainly wasn't hurt in the challenge, but he's been impressive. I think he's beginning to be the player that perhaps Jimmy Tilleen hoped that he was going to be, because early part of the season he wasn't showing the same temperament, the same ability.
It's dropped over the top for Carlson, but he just can't keep it in. But positive intent from Aberdeen to release the Swedes, just a wee bit too far in front from Jack Milne. 0-0. Edith Pataudry after 33.5 minutes. I mentioned Strasbourg's struggles in front of goal. It's all relative. They've only failed to score in 3 games all season, but 2 of them have come in the last 4 games as they play out unconvincingly. Chilwell to Hogsberg, and clips it forward. Devlin tussling now with Godot, and he's penalised. Free kick, 15 yards inside Strasbourg's half. He's protesting Nicky Devlin, but I think he's always going to get penalised there.
I think so, yeah. I think it's 2 arms round about his opponent there and drags him to the ground. So I don't think he's got a case, really. But that doesn't mean that you can't put that case forward. I've done it on a number of occasions myself back in the day.
And it's played in behind Godot. He's between the two Aberdeen defenders, Devlin and Milne. It breaks back to him and he rolls it in the bottom corner. Aberdeen undone in a moment of madness at the back. Godot runs off the shoulder, gets the break of the ball and fires it low beyond Mitov, and for all Aberdeen's good work, it is Aberdeen 0, Strasbourg 1.
Out of nothing really. It's poor defending. The cross coming in from the right hand side, Jack Milne leaves it. Nicky Devlin gets too close to Jack Milne. I think eventually it goes through Nicky Devlin's legs as Godot takes the initial touch with it, and it just falls perfectly for him. And Mitov's got no chance. He tries to spread himself, but Godot showing decent composure, and just slots it just inside the far post and into the back of the net. But the two Aberdeen defenders, I think it's Nicky Devlin, that just he takes himself beyond the ball. Godot gets a little touch on it, but if he just kind of steadies himself and identifies where the danger might be, I think he stops that goal. And you would hope with Nicky Devlin's experience that would have been the case, but it wasn't. And Godot gets the opener for Strasbourg.
Martial Godot with his second goal of this Conference League campaign, scored the winner against Swedish side Häcken, who Aberdeen know very well, having played them a couple of times in the last 5-6 years in qualifiers. As Carlson comes in off the wing, gives it to Jensen, now Ashish, and it's Taylor. Lovely play from Armstrong around the corner, lays it out wide to Carlson, low cross, doesn't beat Omobamidele, and the offside flag is up. But as a tale we've seen so many times from Scottish sides in Europe, Willie, especially against better opposition where you play well, you do a lot right, don't quite take your chances and make a mistake at the other end, and it's curtains in terms of the clean sheet.
Yeah. I think that's an issue though. When you're trying to play that high line, when you're trying to put the opposition under intense pressure, which Aberdeen have done. They've done extremely well in the first 35 minutes or so. But a big part of the game is defending. There's only one striker there to be taken care of. There's two defenders that should be taking care of him. I think Jack Milne could have deepened himself a little bit, and certainly Nicky Devlin should have been used much more of his experience to identify where the danger was going to be there. And it was all too easy for Godot to just slot it into the back of the net. So hugely disappointing after a bright 35 minutes or so.
Yeah, it had a bit of the echoes of the second goal conceded against St Mirren, where the ball over the top, and it's just Aberdeen just don't deal with it. Devlin overruns the ball and kind of obstructs Milne in the process, which left Godot the chance to finish into the bottom corner. 8 minutes to the break. Aberdeen 0, Strasbourg 1. Doesn't wholly tell the story of the game, but the French sides have taken control here at Pittodrie, and Roma have taken control at Celtic Park. They've gone 2-0 up. As Luis now slides it into the box for Godot, slightly overhit, and it was cleared off an Aberdeen player in the end, and goes back to Mitov. But Wilfred Nonce getting a baptism of fire to life at Celtic as Roma double their advantage in the first half. Rangers beaten 2-1 by Ferencváros earlier. Lazatic looking at the referee, thinks he was nudged there. He was, but there wasn't a great deal of force in it. As now Strasbourg break, and it's out to Amo Amayo on the right hand side of the box, rolls it with the stud, still going, gets to the byline, crosses block, comes back to him, still in, digs it out, Godot with a header, straight up in the air, drops back to him, challenge comes in eventually from Milne, and it's a good one. And now Carlson opens up and tries to break, and he's hacked down there by Goela Due, and the referee blows the whistle eventually, and the right back and captain for the night, Goela Due, is booked as well. So Strasbourg with already 3 players yellow carded.
Yeah, disappointing because it was an opportunity for Carlson to break, and Dewey getting the yellow card. Deserved the yellow card because he's nowhere near the ball and saw the danger, the threat, the pace of Carlson, just took him out.
Armstrong with a big switch of play out to Dylan Lobin, read by Chilwell, who nods it out for an Aberdeen throw-in. Aberdeen can't get disheartened here because they played positively against a strong side, one of the favourites for the competition. Yes, they've rotated their starting 11 heavily, nonetheless they've played well. They trail by 1-0, and Lobin's won it, and Keskinen, and it's breaks for Lobin into the box. Can he get the shot away? He can, and the defender Omo Bamidele came across and hits it out for a corner kick. Lazatic was lurking there for a tap-in.
He just didn't catch it properly, Dylan Lobin. Didn't he? It fell really well for him. It's a tight angle. Lazatic is there. I don't know if he sees him. I don't know if he can pick him out. He's got his head down. It's a good clearance from the defender. But, the Ulster doing well, but just could have been a little bit kind of a cleaner with a strike at goal.
Corner taken by Armstrong. Outswinger with the right foot. Back post header and palmed away by Penders. And Knuster already had one ruled out. That was a really good header, but the goalkeeper equal to it.
Made a bit of a meal at the goalkeeper, to be perfectly honest. I think he was hoping to take the picture home. But it's a good effort from Knuster. He gets a good forehead on it. I thought the goalkeeper should have dealt with it a lot more efficiently, but Aberdeen won the corner. Stuart Armstrong again to take it.
And it's the same delivery. This time it's read by Hugsberg, who side foots it high into the air, and Aberdeen don't have many back here. Jensen's one of them, and he's won the header, but it drops for Nzingula. Lobin with a brilliant challenge. Outstanding from the youngster. And Strasbourg look to break, and it will be a throw into Aberdeen as well. Just put enough pressure on there. 4.5 minutes to the break. Aberdeen 0, Strasbourg 1.
Yeah, I mean, if it stays like this, then it's going to be a disappointing scoreline. But with a decent performance, but you can't defend the way Aberdeen defended for the goal, particularly at this level. The chances that were presented, or the chance that was presented, isn't acceptable when you're playing in European football.
Keskinen's run across the pitch, and he's done really well there. Gives it to Armstrong, ball bobbling about, but Armstrong gets it under control. Goes square to Devlin. Devlin curls one to the corner of the box. Chilwell clears. And now it's Nzingula, and Armstrong with a toe on it. And it will be a Strasbourg throw-in. Strasbourg with their 10 points garnered from their first 4 games means they're through in terms of the points needed to go through, but they've certainly got their eyes on the top 8 finish, which would see them pass straight to the last 16 in a win here tonight, and would get them onto 13 points, which was pretty much certain to do it. 12 was enough last season for teams to finish in the top 8. A couple got in on 11 with a good goal difference, so there is still an incentive for them. They go to they play Breidablik of Iceland in their final game, so if they can get the job done here tonight with a rotated side, they can do likewise again in a busy schedule before Christmas next week, as Lobin plays it off in Gonzula for a throw-in. Now she shows for it, back to Devlin. He'll be ruining his part in Strasbourg's goal. And sometimes, as much as Aberdeen have certainly improved defensively in the back 3, just sometimes, Willie, certainly as a centre-back yourself, Nicky Devlin just kind of shows himself more of a right back.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's done extremely well, filling in the right centre-back of a 3. And I think when they're compact, he's much more comfortable. You just feel that, the way Aberdeen have got to play, Lobin's away further forward. Jensen's, been invited to do the same on the other side. So at times it just leaves him exposed. I thought Jack Milne, maybe needs to think a little bit more about the diagonal ball that was played in behind him as well. But the goal has been given. I'm sure Nicky Devlin will be bitterly disappointed that he didn't manage to intercept it. And Jimmy Tilleen, that will be a sore one for him, because it's been a decent first half performance with nothing really to show for it.
Well, goes back to Mitov, who strides back and launches it forwards. Lazatic tussling with Hugsberg, who And lets the ball bounce, and Chilwell mops up. And he's under pressure as it comes back to him. Armstrong's chested it now and manages to offload it to Lobin, who puts the head down and drives down the line, stops back, and that allows Luis to get in, but Lobin has battled back, won it again. Now Sheesh goes down, wants a free kick, not going to get it. Luis gives it to Devlin, who steps onto the game. Nicky Devlin drops his shoulder. He's got Keskinen outside him. He tries to play it into the box and goes straight to the defender. I think Keskinen was the ball there. And now Godot, the goal scorer, trying to launch a counter-attack, but it's fairly slow as Amo Amayao takes it on the touchline. It was he who set up the goal with a lovely ball in behind. Former Southampton player. Midfielder now, Rabi Zingula. And now Strasbourg content to stroke it about at the back. And they've got the goal they need. We've got about 30 seconds left of the first half plus stoppage time. Free kick given for Devlin's foul on Ginzula. Frustration showing from the Aberdeen captain.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't think there's any doubt it was a free kick. Devlin into the back of Ginzula. When really, again, you just got to think about it a little bit more rather than giving the free kick away. You know, you're getting towards half time. You're a goal down, you want to put as much pressure as you can to try and get it back, and I think Nicky Devlin would be better not to go into that challenge because it was always going to be a free kick.
Right, 2 minutes added at the end of this first half as it goes over the top of the Aberdeen defence. Lobin with a awkward one to deal with, but he does deal with it now. Armstrong for Keskinen, and Keskinen plays it off Hogsberg, and he has claimed it's come back off the Aberdeen player, and the officials agree, so it's a Strasbourg throw in about 15 yards into Aberdeen's half. Chilwell throws it into Godot, and he jinks about and then runs it out of play for an Aberdeen throw in, and he's on the turf looking for a foul, which he is not going to receive from the German referee. And Aberdeen get on with it. Lobin to Devlin. Now Mitov on his 6-yard line. Mitov clips one out to Jensen, controls on the chest. Alexander Jensen, then back down the line to Knuster, who goes long. Lazatic, it's allowed to bounce, and then Hogsberg gets a glance on it, and Chilwell returns it. Milne, volley forwards, and Carlson tussling with Doué, and now Amugu, and the offside flag is up against presumably, well, it has to be Carlson or Lazatic there.
Lazatic was offside, but he wasn't taking part in the play. It was Carlson. Carlson didn't see Carlson being in offside position, but very slow with the flag going up on that occasion.
Penders, the goalkeeper, goes long. Aberdeen 0, Strasbourg 1. 30 seconds left of the 2 added at the end of the first half. Carlson touches it up the line, cleared by Omo Bamidele. Out for a throw into Aberdeen on the far side in their own half. Been a positive aspects to Aberdeen's first half, certainly the opening 20 minutes, but they are going to go into the break trailing by 1 goal, and the applause round Pittodrie tells you that scoreline doesn't say it all, because there's been plenty of positive aspects to Aberdeen's play. As I say, Knuster, the header that ended up being off an arm, ruled out as they thought they'd taken the leads, and they've had other chances as well. Lazatic had one deflected wide, Lobin had a chance, Knuster had a header save, but ultimately a defensive lapse from Milne and Devlin at the back allowed Godot in, and he stroked beyond Mitov to give the French side Strasbourg the advantage at Pittodrie. Half-time on Matchday 5 in the Conference League. It is Aberdeen 0, Racing Strasbourg 1.
But this will at least give them some kind of hope if this can be converted, and it looks like Rio Hatate is going to take it. You know, just making sure the VAR team, there was enough in it. It didn't look like it was that much, but there was enough for Engels to go down, enough contact for Engels to go down. However, it's a very slippery surface out there. El Shaarawy, I think, has talked himself into a booking, the Roma captain. So both he and Hermoso booked. It looks like it is going to stand, and Arne Engels has now got the ball. Celtic have been awarded 4 penalties before this one this season. They've scored all of them, despite failing with 3 of them in their Champions League playoff shootout against Kairat.
Well, I'm looking at also Celtic players. There's only 1, 2, 3 at the edge of the box. get in after it. You know, you've got Negrin, you know, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players sitting back. I know it's near half-time, but get in around the edge of the box. And if it comes back off the goalkeeper, then you have a chance of maybe scoring.
Arne Engels then waits over the ball to take 2 goals already this season. Engels looking for number 3 here. Give Celtic some kind of hope. Right-footed penalty. Here goes Engels, off the post. And it bounces away behind for a goal kick on the other side of the goal. And another Roma player's been booked for protesting. It's Sule has been yellow carded. And it all comes to nothing, and it stays Celtic 0, Roma 3. I mean, if you get it, you've got to score that. You've just got to score it. Engels is rubbing the back of his head. It just couldn't really have gone much worse this first half for the Scottish champions.
No, listen, it was a lifeline. That's what I said. It wasn't once they get back into it, but the lifeline is gone now, and 3-0 down at half-time. That's it.
Awful, awful, awful. And you can hear the Celtic supporters in the background, and little wonder they are on the receiving end of an absolute mothering here. Roma, Serie A title challengers this season, have a 3-0 lead at half-time. The opening goal was an own goal from Liam Scales, directly from a Sule corner. Under pressure from Hermoso and Mancini, came off Scales last, found the net off the underside of the bar, and it was 1-0. Evan Ferguson, the Republic of Ireland international, a boyhood Celtic fan, has scored 2 against them. 2 goals, the first a simple tap in, the second he rolled home into the bottom left corner. Arne Engels spurning some late first half salvation with a penalty after he was brought down himself by Hermoso, but it bounced off the left hand post, across the face of the goal, and behind the other side it spun and out for a goal kick. And that means at half time, when Europa League Matchday 6, a quite horrific first half for the Scottish champions. It is Celtic 0, Roma 3.
Celtic in the UEFA Europa League.
Live on Sports Sound
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland with me, Andy Burke. Apologies for any bad language you might have picked up on the half-time whistle there from Celtic Park. Some Celtic fans pretty angry from what they've seen in that first half, in which their team has completely been outplayed by a Roma side who lead by 3-0, and in all truth it could have been even worse. It's shaping up to be a pretty dismal night in Europe for the Scottish side. It all started in Budapest, Rangers going down 2-1 to Ferencváros, having taken the lead through Bojan Majowski, but their Europa League hopes are all but over with just 1 point from their 6 matches. Celtic are pretty much, as Pat Bonner said, playing for pride in the second half, 3-0 down. But what about up in Pittodrie in the UEFA Conference League? Aberdeen are up against Strasbourg, and Willie Miller and Thomas Duncan can give us a tale of the first half.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. The scoreline isn't much better here at Aberdeen 0, Strasbourg 1. However, that does belie Aberdeen's performance, which has been largely positive, especially the first 15-20 minutes. They were excellent, pressing Strasbourg, harrying them, really getting the fans on sides. Thought they'd taken the lead as well. Armstrong, who's been outstanding, with a brilliant corner to the back post. Knuster finished it, which we thought was a towering header, but the VAR had a look at it and found that it actually come off an arm of Knuster, and so it was chalked off. Lazatic also had a great chance just before that. Armstrong played him through. He got a finish away right in front of goal, but Omo Bamidele, the Ireland international, with a brilliant last-ditch block to deny him. And now Sheesh, who's another player who's been excellent, popping up in midfield with interceptions and pressing really well, pinched it on the edge of the box and curled one just wide. But their undoing Aberdeen was just a complete defensive lapse. 35 minutes. Sam Amo with a nice run in from the right-hand side. He floated a pass in behind the Aberdeen defence. Complete miscommunication from Jack Milne and Nicky Devlin. Devlin overran it, blocked his defensive partner, who then couldn't get onto Martial Godo, who finished low past Dimitar Mitov. After that, Aberdeen did respond reasonably well. Dylan Lobben dragged the shot. Knuster had another header which was well saved by Penders, but they've been unable to get back on level terms, Willie Miller. So, but despite that, go down the tunnel 1 goal down, but they were applauded by the home fans, which doesn't happen too often.
It doesn't, you know, particularly when you're on the end of that half-time, 1-0 scoreline. But it has been pretty uplifting, I would suggest. I think Jimmy Tulane throwing on, a lot of offensive players, and they've certainly taken the game to Strasbourg, and a little bit unfortunate with the chances that they've had and the decision, particularly the Knuster decision that came off the hand. Goalkeeper Pender's nowhere to be seen, got himself totally stranded, and Knuster headed it. I think it must have came off either his hand or arm or one of the teammates. It was just like a ruck at the back post as it trickled over the line, so that was hugely disappointing. But even more disappointing was the manner of the goal that Strasbourg scored. Jack Milne found himself in the wrong position as the ball came in from the right hand side, but then Nicky Devlin complicated it by coming in from the right hand side, and he eventually ran into Jack Milne, missed the ball completely, and it just fell for Godot with the left foot, just stroked it into the back of the net past Mitov, who had no chance at all. So a really disappointing goal to lose, some bad defending, but over the first 45 minutes, there have been chances. Auschwitz curler wasn't that far away. The Knuster second header was well saved, and the Loban volley was saved, and as you said, Carlson had another opportunity too. So there's been plenty of decent play. It's been front foot football, it's been high press football, but they've let themselves down at the back. They've gifted a goal to Strasbourg, and they haven't been able to take their chances at the other end, and that's why the scoreline at half-time is disappointing, but the performance is encouraging.
Yeah, by far Aberdeen's best performance in Europe this season, Andy, but the scoreline at half-time is still Aberdeen 0, Strasbourg 1.
You can listen to Thomas and Willie's commentary in the second half from Pittodrie on BBC Radio Scotland on digital, 810 medium wave, and BBC Radio Scotland Extra on sounds. If you want to stick with Celtic versus Roma, stay on 92 to 95 FM and BBC Sounds, and both matches are live online at the BBC Sports Scotland website. Liam McLeod and Pat Bonner have been describing the action at Celtic Park. James McFadden and Tom English are with me in the studio, and quite a contrast there, James. The Aberdeen fans applauding the Dons off the pitch for their first half efforts. Quite a different reaction to that first half performance at Celtic Park.
Yeah, I mean, quite rightly so from the Aberdeen fans. It's been a good performance, and they probably could have been ahead at the time, or at least level. So yeah, they've performed well. Celtic, on the other hand, I mean, they look so disjointed. They're getting caught on the ball. They keep playing the same pass into midfield. They keep getting caught on it. They keep being slack, if you like, on the ball. And probably could have been more. I know Arnie Engels misses the penalty, which would have given them some sort of hope that they could go, and all you need to do then is chase the next goal in the game. But you can't say that Roma deserve to be 3 goals in front. They absolutely do. Celtic been camped at times in and around their box. Maida's been isolated. Negrin's been slack on the ball. Paki spoke about Tenekte playing in the wing back, and it's not a criticism of him, but it's not suited to him playing as a wing back. So yeah, it's been a hugely frustrating night for Celtic, and you have to say that it's probably fair that Roma 3 goals to the good. Yeah,
Tom English, Celtic have spent pretty much the entire first half chasing shadows for the most part.
Yeah, they have. I mean, this is a Roma team. It's a very good side, and they're playing well. They're not free scoring domestically. They're in the top half of Serie A. They're one of the teams that score the fewest amount of goals. Not that you'd know that by looking at them tonight.
They've saved them all up for tonight.
They've saved them all because they've been ruthless, absolutely ruthless. Evan Ferguson has been brilliant. But as Faddy says, Celtic are so slow on the ball, so vulnerable. The amount of space that they're giving to Roma. And Roma are just basking in this. They're basking in the opportunities that Celtic are giving them. They're working very hard, Roma. They're very well organised, and they're just way, way better. I mean, this is a sobering reminder of Celtic of their place in the grand scheme of things in the Europa League. They are miles off this level.
Yeah, Pat Bonner. There is a real gulf between these sides that's been laid bare at Celtic Park tonight so far.
Yeah, And the shape hasn't helped that, to be perfectly honest, playing with the two wing backs who are out and out wingers, let's face it. And they've got a hell of a shift on. They have to go run the full length of the pitch. They've got to be defending in 1 minute and try to get up to be creative and the other side. And then, you know, they're playing with the four in midfield, with Negrin push further kind of forward and helping maybe a little bit at times Maeda, but when they have the ball, they're not able to string any passes together and exploit that extra player that they have in the pitch. And what Gasparini has done, he's done what he actually did with Atlanta, going man for man. He's pushed one of the centre backs in on top of Negrin, and every time the ball's been passed and it's a straight pass into him or into any of the midfielders, they've just gone really, really tight, man for man, and they won the ball back, and then they were on the front foot and they were creating chances from that, and Celtic could be a lot more down than the 3 goals, to be perfectly honest. And Celtic haven't been able to come up with any sort of way of coping with that, and they've just kept playing. They've had a few counter-attacks, you know, when they got the ball and got probably Konecny, you know, high up in the area that he should be playing at times, and it looked as if, 1v1 maybe, and he creates something, but just kind of it almost filtered out, and Celtic just haven't had no answers, and the shape has definitely not helping them. And I know it's a big talking point. You change the shape, and the manager will say, listen, you know, it's not about the shape because he wants to get the concept over and getting players. But if you play with 2 wingers against a Roma team that is really exceptional at times, especially when they have the ball and they're pushing you back, then you've got to have players who can actually deal defensively with that. And they're not capable. And as James says, you know, I feel sorry for him. Actually, I'm looking at Konecny there, and he's trying to get back into a position where you would see a fullback getting back to it with pace and speed, but he's absolutely almost out of breath because he's been doing that hard shift and he can't get back to help. And then Tierney's pulled out of his position and into a left back position, and he's not either a left back or a left centre back, and it's creating real problems for Celtic. And then when Sully gets the ball on the edge of the box, the midfielders aren't doing a job on him. They're not closing him down and pushing him wide and allowing him to come in. He had 2 or 3 chances. He had one shot that was saved by Schmeichel, one that he mishit and went wide, and then laying on the goal for Ferguson. He'll never score an easier goal. 2 goals actually. The first one tap in, and the second one just into his feet, turn and strike on target, and there's a goal. You know, James, you've been a centre forward. You know, you've got Maeda and Negrin up front, and they're trying balls up to him, and it isn't working. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're giving Evan Ferguson too much credit there, Packy.
No, but I'm just saying. But
the second goal's great quality. The first goal, he loses Liam Scales. His movement's excellent, but it is too easy from a Celtic point of view. And Negrin, look, the problem you've got is, we know Maeda's, he wants to run in behind. He's not great at coming to feet and linking the play, and Negrin's coming far too deep. So I know he's there to try and get in support, but his starting position's just in line with the rest of the midfield. He's going high, and then he's coming his level with the midfield to get a touch of the ball, and it's just going straight back anyway.
Would you not be better playing with another striker if you're going to do that?
Yeah,
so you have
absolutely.
2 targets.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, you know, the point on the wing backs having to defend. Listen, I don't mind Yang doing it because I think Yang's got the physicality. I think when you look at Konecny, since he's come into Celtic, it's the one thing that he is lacking is that physicality to go and play. So the shape's not helping the personnel, and that is always going to be the issue until the manager gets the players that he needs to fit into his system.
So, but he knows the players he has, but he's enforcing his shape on these players. Surely he's got to, okay, right, this is what I have here. Now I'm going to come up with a shape that suits these, rather than be a slave to his philosophy.
Sorry guys, I just need to pause you just now because the teams are back out of Pittodrie, so we'll have a split now. You can listen to live second half commentary from Pittodrie on BBC Radio Scotland Digital, 810 medium wave and Radio Scotland Extra on Sounds. If you want to stick with Celtic versus Roma, stay with us on 92 to 95 FM and BBC Sounds.
Following Scotland's teams in Europe, live on Sports Sound.
On BBC Radio Scotland.
Welcome back to Pittodrie. Teams are up and running again. Aberdeen trailing by a goal to nil. Strasbourg with the advantage, and as it stands. Top of the Conference League table. Aberdeen still down in 33rd as it stands. They need a win tonight to go to Prague next week with a chance of qualification. It looks slim at this moment in time, but they have put in an encouraging first half display. Can they build it in the second half and crucially get back into this game as Chilwell plays it up to Pais, who miscontrols, and Jensen collects for Aberdeen. Ashish turns on halfway and gives it to Nicky Devlin. Devlin to Loben. No changes at the break from either side, so Aberdeen line up Mitov, Devlin, Milne, Knuster, Loben, Jensen, Ashish, Armstrong, Keskinen, Carlson and Lazatic as it's headed forwards. Amugu plays it into space. Knuster's there first. His clearance is blocked by Pais and he still has it. Knuster gets a toe on it. Now Carlson, lovely backheel flick to Armstrong. He's tackled by Amugu and it's a ping pong in midfield, and it's now back to Omo Bamadele. And now it's Penders, the goalkeeper, plays it square across his own 18-yard line, and the defenders play it about. The Strasbourg substitutes down in front of us warming up, and a lot of them are their kind of more first choice players as well, so they can certainly get impact from the bench. As Knuster deep in Strasbourg's half plays it forward, and then Armstrong's flick looking for Lazatic is overhit and through to the goalkeeper. 1-0 Strasbourg, but Aberdeen just needs a bit more of the same, Willie, but just with that end product.
They do. You know, I don't think anything needs to change. They have to show the same energy, the same drive, determination, the same will to get forward, while still being, making sure that they're thinking at the back and not getting caught in the counter, not getting stretched as they have just now.
And a low ball looking for Godot, but Milne is stationed in the middle of the box to clear it with the right foot down towards halfway. Strasbourg finishing 7th in Ligue 1 last season and qualifying for this competition via the playoff round where they defeated Brøndby of Denmark 3-2 on aggregate, as Knuster holds off Amo and then back to Milne, and his clearance is low and intercepted, but it breaks for Ashish now, who drops one in behind the Strasbourg defence, but it's nowhere near Lazatic. So Doué slides it forward to Rafael Luis, who turns backwards under pressure from Keskinen and goes to Högsberg, and back to Penders, and now it's Omo Bamadele. Doué forward for Pais, and then Luis. And Strasbourg, I feel they'll try and do this more and more in this second half. Now they've got their noses in front, is just try and keep the ball as best they can, although the goalkeeper has decided to go direct, and it's gone direct successfully to Amo, but it came off his heel as he looked to control it, and so it allowed Jensen in. Now Armstrong, and he's away from Amugu, and he's still holding him off. It's a free kick given to the Aberdeen midfielder, and he's asking the referee for more there, I think, and you rarely see Stuart Armstrong get so flustered, Willie.
Yeah, he was a little bit frustrated there because it was away and it was a good build-up as well. I mean, he's such an elegant player as well, Stuart Armstrong, and he just covers the ground. So his first touch is usually always just about perfect too, and he identifies the closeness of the opposition player as well, and that first touch tends to take him past the player, and that's what happened on that occasion. And he was having a go at the referee. Absolutely correct, because it was definitely obstruction. He had his jersey pulled, he's back in the ball again, and he's such an important player for Aberdeen.
Driving forward and gives it to Carlson on this near side. Carlson with a step over, then chops back with a reverse pass to Jensen. Jensen's cross to the penalty spot, and no one in a red shirt is on that mark. Lazatic was beyond the ball, and Ashish was at the edge of the area. Strasbourg clear. Jack Milne collects in his own half, gives it to Knuster. Turns and sends it forward for Jensen, who gets a touch inside the defender. He's done well there, returns it to Carlson with a back heel. Carlson's low cross the front post, away by Omo Bamadele, and Strasbourg have it again through Amo Amayo, and he turns back and gives it to Guela Doué, and it's Milne who put his studs on it and had to chase after it, and he's won it off Pais, and then a sliding challenge from Armstrong, and he's won it again, and then finds Ashish to Devlin. What a performance this is from Stuart Armstrong. He is everywhere for Aberdeen. And here he is again, centre circle. gives it to Keskinen. Aushish now. Aushish spreads the play to Lobin on the far side. Keskinen's made an underlapping run. Lobin's running at the defender. Pauses. He's got no one to pass it back to. Crosses it with the left foot. Lazatic across the front post. Gets the touch on it, but cannot steer it on target. And he's got his hands on his head. Marko Lazatic should have done better there.
Yeah, he should have. Not an easy one to take though, and Dylan Lobin, he should try this more often, getting on his left foot and just pinging it in towards the near post, and Lazatic, find the pocket of space, just didn't get enough on it.
Armstrong passes it to Lazatic on the edge of the box, gets the turn shot blocked, spins away. Now there's a chance for a break here, played forward, but Milne will cover the ground and get to that. I actually think I just caught a replay there, and to be fair to Lazatic, he's actually come off the goalkeeper. He's made a decent save, so it may have been going in, but for the keeper's intervention, but at least he was getting across the front post.
Yeah, it's important that he makes that run, and it's a great cross in from Dylan Lobin. Because at times I think he wants to go down, on his right side, and he's got to have the option of coming in with that left foot and just dinking the ball into a dangerous area. It's so difficult to defend against that as well. But Lazatic's making the intelligent run, and he does get the touch on it, but I think he's looking to get more on it than what he managed to get. Yes, it's a save, but at the same time a big chance.
Chilwell's got the better of Lobin here, but the Aberdeen Academy player has got back and forced the England international to pass it backwards. Here is Chilwell again, and it's Nzingula, and now Amugu returns it to his midfield partner. Not the best touch, but he has time to regather, and now it's Godo for Amo Amayo. He's up against Jensen, tricky footwork, and then the little roulette spin, and now it's Doué, header. What a save from Dimitar Mitov to deny Martial Godo a second goal. That looked certain to find the back of the net. Superb.
Oh, it was. It's a magnificent save from Mitov. It should have been the second goal. Was it Doué that got the header as the ball came in? Just trying to, or was it Godo again that got the header? It was Godo that got the header. Just watching a little bit of a replay there. It's a really good cross, but he's in between Milne, and he's in between Milne and Devlin, and once again these two have got to communicate much better. That should have been the second.
The referee unhappy that the ball isn't in the quadrant here as Ben Chilwell prepares to take this corner kick, and here he is, the right arm up, and it's flashed into the box, headed away by Lazatic, and Carlson heads it further down the pitch. Well, that's the best of Dimitar Mitov. He's been questioned at times in terms of his coming for crosses and causing a bit of uncertainty with his distribution, but the shot stopping never really been in question. And it was a good save from the Aberdeen number one, and it remains 1-0 to Strasbourg. Doué into Nzingula, lovely turn away from Aushish. It's beautiful play from the midfielder, he's still going, and then he slides a pass into the box, a little deflection from the Aberdeen defender, and now Armstrong on the edge of the penalty area. Knuster sends it up to Lazatic. Again, he's backing into the defender, but the defender gets the studs on the ball, and now it's passed out to Hogsberg as the Strasbourg fans all hold up their scarves and sing, adding a bit of colour to the south stand at Pittodrie over on the far side. It's not packed out, but there's a good few hundred of them. And Nzingula this time with a poor touch, and Keskinen's challenge breaks for Aushish, and Aushish curls in behind. Lazatic has made the run. He's going to get onto on the edge of the box. Lazatic, he's got two defenders in front of him. Now it's Carlson, arrives back to Jensen on the edge of the box, doesn't get the shot away, and now the chance is almost gone, but Armstrong scoops it to Carlson, left hand side of the penalty area. Carlson eventually delivers it, and it's onto the penalty spot and headed away by Luis, and now Godo is bundled over by Devlin. Free kick to Strasbourg, and it felt, Willie, as though Aberdeen just needed to either get a shot away or release it, or just do something at the end there.
Yeah, he was struggling, Lazatic, wasn't he? To just find that little pocket of space to, manage to get the strike, and you need that. You need to. We're just watching the replay of Lazatic. I mean, he does get something on it, Lazatic, but doesn't get enough on it. That's the earlier chance, and then that opportunity there, it just wouldn't open up for him. He was searching to try and get the strike away, but he just couldn't get the pocket of space to enable him to do that.
Lobin crosses from deep, but it's a poor one. And I don't think the Aberdeen attack was set either. No one was really in the box. It was too close to the goalkeeper from Dylan Lobin. on the right foot, and it goes through to Penders, the goalkeeper. Aberdeen with such a crucial period coming up. Kilmarnock away here on Sunday, and a chance to keep moving up the league and back into contention for Europe. That's a slack pass from the goalkeeper, invites a challenge from Lazatic. It's a Strasbourg throw in line with the edge of their own penalty area, but yeah, after that it's Sparta Prague away on Thursday, and then you've got Celtic the following Sunday, and then after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year, it's Dundee United at Pittodrie and Hibs at Easter Road, and then after that Falkirk and a double header with Rangers. So many crucial games coming up, and it looks like Strasbourg are going to make 3 changes here. Oh, and it's given away by Armstrong, and now Godo, edge of the box, right-footed strike. Mitov palms it over the top of the crossbar.
Oh, sure, Armstrong on that occasion giving Godo the opportunity, and what another magnificent save. That takes a deflection off of Jack Milne as it's coming towards Mitov, and he's going down to his right-hand side. He's got to throw the left arm out. Takes a wicked deflection, and he manages to somehow turn it over the bar. But Stuart Armstrong at fault on that occasion, so 2 brilliant saves from Mitov.
Yeah, he was a spectator in the first half almost, Dimitar Mitov, apart from the goal, which he didn't have much chance with. 2 top saves from Martial Godo in this second half. Strasbourg corner, and it's Chilwell from the far side. 2 players go down in the box, and Aberdeen are given the free kick. Rabi Nzingula with a foul on Devlin, and the substitutions will now be made. Felix Lemarechal and Valentin Barco are going to come on, as well as Doucouré. So the changes being made now. Rafael Luis off for the midfielder Ismail Doucouré. Valentin Barco, another midfielder, he's replacing Goela Doué, and he's another player on the yellow card. And then Felix Lamerechal is also going to come on, and it is Kendry Paes, the 18-year-old on loan from Chelsea, who is replaced. So all three of the players on a booking, all hooked by Liam Rosenior. The players coming on in their place are arguably the first choice in those positions, so it's not going to get any easier for Aberdeen as Knuster clears it with the left foot. Carlson backing in, but it breaks forward. Jensen, and now Aushish in his own half. He doesn't have much of a passing option, but he finds a brilliant one inside for Carlson, and now he's running at the Strasbourg defence. He plays it out wide to Armstrong on this near side. Armstrong into the box, lays it to Jensen, clipped it to the back post, touch from Lazatic, then tries to lash it in on the turn, but it drifted away from him, and it's gone behind. Corner kick though.
Yeah, and it's good play. It very swiftly goes from one half to the other half, and eventually the cross coming in for Lazatic, who tries to get it under control. It's a really awkward one for him to take. He tries to manoeuvre himself and to being able to get a shot at goal. He manages to get the corner kick, and Stuart Armstrong again at the heart of everything good. Only one error this evening, giving the ball away a little bit earlier, but other than that, he's been in top form and taking this corner kick as well.
Armstrong, south stand sides, outswinger, curls it, didn't have enough on it, headed away at the near post. Aushish back to Armstrong, into Lobin, corner of the box, tries to lay it back to Armstrong. Challenge went in. It was a good challenge in the end. Aberdeen have it back though. Aushish crosses it from deep. Lazatic is in there, and Penders comes and collects, and now he's rolled it out to Barco. And Barco, the summer signing from Brighton, is on the halfway line, and he decides to go backwards, and then Keskinen lays a hand on him and he goes down, and it is a free kick to Strasbourg. An hour played at Pittodrie. Aberdeen 0, Strasbourg 1, live on Sports Sound.
Well, they're not out of this game. Aberdeen, they're still testing Strasbourg, testing them defensively. They just probably need that bit of quality. Although in saying that, Strasbourg through Godo's had a couple of great efforts, only matched by magnificent saves from Mitov and goal. But that's what goalkeepers there to do, is make saves, and he's pretty good at making these saves. Mitov, as you said, maybe a little bit suspect at cross balls recently, but shot stopping, top quality.
And the referee saying it's a free kick to Dylan Lobin. He takes it quickly, and now Armstrong has it. Armstrong fires it for Carlson on the edge of the box. Good touch from Carlson. He's still got it. He's under pressure. Still got the ball, Carlson. Squeezes the pass, but it's intercepted. Jensen was lurking, but it's picked off by Amoamia. Now he's breaking into the centre circle and he gives it to Godo, and it's a one-on-one. Milne is going to let him go outside of the box. Aberdeen get back in numbers now, but Godo's running at Jack Milne in on the right foot, back onto the byline side, and then Milne watches him all the way and slides in and concedes the corner.
Yeah, it's good defending. Jack Milne, on that occasion, not an easy situation to find yourself in. Godo coming in, get good pace, get good body movement as well. He's dipping the shoulder in and out. Eventually he goes towards the byline. But Jack Milne doesn't commit himself until he knows that he can get the touch on the ball, and he does that. He has to give away the corner, but it's really good defending.
Graphic flashing up on the monitor in front of us. Aberdeen have had 7 corners to Strasbourg's 4. And here is the 4th coming from Ben Chilwell. Outswinger. It's a dangerous one. It's missed by Aberdeen, and Omo Bamidele has his hands on his head because he knows he should have done better there. It was right in front of him. Didn't make good contact, and Aberdeen get away with it, but Barco now gives it to Amoamia, and then out to Godo, the goal scorer in 35 minutes. Still the difference between these sides in the Conference League. Nzingula, and that's a poor challenge from Alexander Jensen, and a free kick is given by the referee. It's just a late one from the Dane, and it's going to be as good as a corner here. Free kick right on the touchline on the far side. And
Aberdeen haven't been good at defending the set pieces, even when the opportunities haven't been taken, and they still look suspect. There's too many white jerseys, seem to get an awful lot of free space. I'm looking at it, Willie. You're a centre back. It's always outswingers from the left foot, and they seem to be too deep. Do they need to step up there? Because the guys are running in and they're nowhere near them. Yeah, I think they need to be more intent and making sure that they're picking a man up. There's only 6 red shirts, 4 white shirts. Pick them up rather than picking the space.
And here is Chilwell, dangerous ball. Mitov stayed rooted to his line, but this time as a glancing header from Jack Milne. Manages to keep Strasbourg at bay. Header out on this near side. Strasbourg unbeaten in European football this season. Their only blemish in the league phase so far was a draw against Jagiellonia of Poland. Other than that, they've had victories: 2-1 against Slovan Bratislava, 2-1 against Häcken of Sweden, and then a 2-1 against Crystal Palace as well, albeit Palace missed 2 open goals in that game and also hit the woodwork and probably should have at least got a point. Here is Barco, the substitute. Good strength for a diminutive figure, holding off Aushish, who is eventually penalised for grappling with him. 64 minutes on the clock, live on BBC Radio Scotland Extra. Aberdeen 0, Strasbourg 1. Aberdeen, as it stands, are going to be rooted on 2 points in the Conference League. 2 changes coming, and Nicholas Milanovic is one of them, and the lesser spotted Kusini Yenge is the other one. Topi Keskinen is being replaced, and Marko Lazetic is being replaced. And you'd have to say, probably with an eye on a big game on Sunday as well, with the league also important.
Yeah, the league is important. You want to do well in Europe, obviously. Yenge getting the opportunity. He hasn't shown anything really in any of his appearances to suggest that he's the answer to Aberdeen's striking issue. But at the same time, he's a big target man, and I'm sure Jimmy Tillane will be hoping that he can at least be a focal point.
Goes up to him from Milne, but can't get there. And it's now Chilwell, controls it on the thigh inside Lobin. Chilwell rampaging to the edge of the box. Oh, excellent tackle from Devlin. Danger not gone though. Godo jinking about on the edge of the box. Godo out to Nzingula, taking on Lobin, and it comes back off him and spins into the box, and Aberdeen clear. Mobamidele, poor header. Kusini Yenge is trying to make a nuisance of himself, and he puts pressure on Hudspur. He has to go back to Penders, a goalkeeper who's playing as a centre-back at the moment in terms of his positioning. Great pass forward for Le Maréchal. Now it's Doucouré and Omo Bamidele. A poor touch again from the Irishman, and Strasbourg do recover, a good touch from Doucouré, and Knuster tried to stop him in his tracks, but it's a risky one because he's on a booking. Mats Knuster needs to be careful. He's getting back into position now, the Dutchman. Strasbourg pass it about one halfway. Yeah, Kusini Yengi, his last action was as a late substitute in the hammering in Athens, and he's not been seen in domestic action since the defeat at Tannadice way back in September. So it's been a real struggle for him in terms of his Aberdeen career. Can he make a name for himself in this game if he gets the chance? Because Strasbourg are dominating the ball as it stands, and they lead by a goal to nil.
They are dominating, possession now. They look a slick outfit when they're in this mood. I think the changes, the substitutes have made a difference as well. And Jimmy Tillane will be hoping that his substitutes will make a difference. But Yengi in particular hasn't really shown anything. This is a big opportunity for him to actually show what he's capable of. As I say, he is that big, tall. The problem just now with Aberdeen is that they're not in control of the game. They need, when you've got a big striker like that, he's got to be the target man. You go up to him, you ask him to give you possession, but you've then got to get the width, and the width usually comes from the wing backs as well. And someone like Yengi needs some crosses into the box, and Aberdeen are not the best at putting them in from wide areas, and at this moment in time they don't really have the control, and the game's getting a bit stretched as well.
And that's a diagonal switch for Amo Amayo, and Jensen's been asked to defend here, and he's done it not too badly, not managed to win the ball, but he's at least kept the winger at bay and forced him backwards. This is a team that drew 3-3 with PSG this season when they click and are playing at their best, which they haven't been recently. 3 straight defeats in the league. They are a really impressive outfit. They've got most of their players fit, albeit their captain and striker Emmanuel Omega, who's recently become a Dutch international, is out at the moment, suspended due to disciplinary issues, attitude issues. He's joining Chelsea in the summer. It's out to Amo Amayo on this near side. He's running at Jensen, step overs. Jensen with his body turned, and the cross comes in, and Knuster stabbed it away at the near post. Barco goes after it, so does Carlson. Lays it back to Jensen, who doesn't have any option but to just punt it up the line. Yengi comes back in, chests it forward, and wins a throw in. And the Aberdeen fans give him a good applause, as that's what the fans need to do, is try and help him as he tries to establish himself as an Aberdeen player. It's a difficult situation to come into, to be honest, because they can't get the ball at the moment.
No, they can't. It's a real struggle. And Strasbourg's showing their class now.
And here comes Godot, corner of the box, taking on Devlin, who slips, and then he's brought down. Penalty. Yeah. Godot brought down. Devlin went to deck, and then on his way down, brought down the attacker, and the referee points to the spot. And on 69 minutes, Strasbourg will have the chance to double their lead.
Yeah, he's caught him, hasn't he? Godot showing some really good movement down that left-hand side. Nicky Devlin goes over and tries to confront him. Devlin falls down, but he's got to stay on his feet in that occasion, and as he goes down, he catches the striker, and there's no doubt in my mind that it's a penalty. They will check it, of course, and Devlin can complain to the referee, but I think it's going to be given, and it's an opportunity, obviously, really to finish this game off, because Strasbourg have been well on top in the last 10-15 minutes.
And there's going to be a change as well. And Martial Godot, he's probably been the pick of Strasbourg's players in this game. He's won the penalty, scored the goal, and he's going to be replaced before this penalty is taken. And their first choice striker is going to come on, Joaquin Panicelli, the Argentina international, who has 10 in all competitions this season. He is going to come on, and they're still checking this penalty in the background as we wait to see if the referee's on-field decision is going to stand. Mitov is out of his goal, having a word with Doucouré, who has planted the ball on the spot, and the striker's coming on and just checking if he's going to be the one to take over, as you would, with his first touch. And now a few of his teammates are getting involved and telling him to leave Doucouré alone. So it's going to be Ismail Doucouré plants the ball on the spot. Merkland Road end at Pittodrie. Mitov on his line, waiting and ready Doucouré goes back slowly. Decision has been confirmed. Can Mitov pull off a big stop? It is Doucouré, right-footed save by Mitov. Low to his right, tremendous stop. And Dimitar Mitov revives some of his heroics from May in that Scottish Cup final to keep the score 1-0 to Strasbourg.
That's magnificent, isn't it, the save? That's a very, very decent penalty kick taken by Doucouré, and it's down to Mitov's right-hand side. It's heading towards just inside the post. It's such a long stretch, Mitov, and it gets plenty behind it as well. Brilliant save.
Top save from Dimitar Mitov. That's his third really of the night. Outswinging corner. Oh, good header from Milne to clear the box on this near side. Carlson plays it forward, and Milanovic is underneath it, heads it forward. Yengi's going after it, and Högsberg plays it to the touchline and clips it up the line, but he's not managed to keep it in. Out for a throw-in, and Pittodrie, after a lull, has found its voice as they try and urge Aberdeen back into this game. Can they take inspiration from that Mitov penalty save? 18 minutes left, plus stoppage time. Yengi's header is a poor one. Jensen has won it back. Now Carlson turns into space and plays it down the line for Jensen. Jensen on the touchline. And Aushish is offering. Takes it, gives it to Jensen. Jensen, Armstrong leaves it, and it's into midfield, and Panicelli gives it to Barco. And then now it's Le Maréchal, and out to Chilwell, who rolls it down the left-hand side for Zingula, and now Barco and Strasbourg back where they want Aberdeen, just in control of the ball and saying, you come and take it off us, because they are in command on the scoreboards and they're top of the Conference League as it stands, and heading through as a top 8 side to the last 16, which is job done for them. Le Maréchal, good feet to get away from Devlin, and Aushish going back towards his own goal, gives it to Högsberg, and now Penders and Strasbourg trying to just take the sting out of the game after Pittodrie just got a little jolt of electricity from that Mitov save, as now the French side come forwards, and Milne gets a toe on it, out for a throw-in on the far side.
3 magnificent saves though we've just witnessed tonight from Mitov. Top drawer, absolute quality just to keep Aberdeen in this game.
And then he launches that forward, and it's beyond Yengi, and Yengi is going to wait for the pass to goalkeeper, and then he closes down, but it's away to Barco, won by Armstrong, and Zingula calmly comes across and wins it, but it's pinched back by Jensen. Now Armstrong, infield to Aushish down the outside to Armstrong, who's going to keep this in. Armstrong first time cross on the left foot, dealt with at the near post by Strasbourg, and then cleared. Devlin's header, and it's straight to Felix Le Maréchal, who has only played one of the last 8 games. We're told by the senior to improve his attitude, the young Frenchman who's come through the academy at Strasbourg, and the substitutes in midfield have certainly helped them get more control of this game. There's a free kick given on the far side to Strasbourg. Willie Miller, big final 15 coming up for Aberdeen.
Well, it's huge for Aberdeen. You would say that they're fortunate to still be in it, because it could easily have been a lot more than the 1 goal. So when it is 1 goal, you are still in it, and they haven't shown any body language that suggests that they don't think that they can get something out of this game. But whether a draw is not going to be good enough. So it's got to be a huge turnaround in the last 15 minutes. And at this moment in time, as you say, with Strasbourg making the positive changes, and it's difficult to see how Aberdeen are going to manage that. But at 1-0, anything's possible.
Jensen has to defend Amo Amayo. He's running at him onto the left foot, checks back on the right, and lays it back to Barco, edge of the area, sends it to the back post. Mitov missed it, and it's headed right across goal by the striker. And he's into the advertising hoarding from good measure, Panicelli. How's he not scored there?
I don't know what he's obviously maybe seeing that post looming towards him as he goes in towards it. The striker, and it's a great cross, isn't it, to the back post from Barco, the substitute. And there's another white jersey there. I'm just trying to. It's Le Maréchal. He just switches off. He stops. If he follows in, it's a tap in. It's incredible why he didn't have the instinct to actually follow in that one. And no, just as well Mitov has had his three good saves, because I don't know what he was thinking about. It was on walkabout there. Walkabout.
I was going to say, we've seen the sublime from Dimitar Mitov tonight, and the ridiculous, because that, I mean, I've just looked at the replay, he gets nowhere near it. He just completely flaps at it. He should have just stayed in his line, and he makes probably a comfortable save. And in the end, Aberdeen lucky not to concede. He does have credit in the bank for his 3 saves up to now, but that was poor from Aberdeen's number 1 as Amayo and Amugu carries it forward. A good challenge from Milanovic. Throw into Strasbourg over on the far side, and Aberdeen just fading as an attacking force as this second half wears on. Strasbourg with just the 1 goal advantage, but certainly the dominant side in this second period. Won by Aberdeen. Devlin up to Yengi, good touch with the chest, then tries to lay it off to Aushish, and he's won the free kick. And cheers from the Aberdeen fans. Let's hope some of them are not ironic, but he's working hard up there. Cassini Yengi, it's 3 changes coming: Dorrington, Shinnie and Nisbet.
Yeah, I mean, I think Yengi's got a lot to prove as far as Aberdeen fans are concerned, that's for sure. But you're at home in a European game, so you want to have that support for the big striker, to give him a chance to kind of show, it's not even to prove, but show the Aberdeen fans why he was brought to the club, because as yet they haven't seen anything. Fresh energy coming in now to support Yengi with the changes that have been made. Nisbet coming on too. What a magnificent goal he scored against Dundee. It's brilliant to get excited in a game of football, isn't it? When you see one like that, it certainly excites you.
Played long by Mitov onto Yengi's head. He heads it up in the air, and it's cleared to Panicelli. Lays it now to midfielder Nzingula. One back and then given away just as quickly by Aberdeen. And it's Strasbourg throw-in over on the far side in their half in front of their fans there. Over on the far sides, it was Devlin, Knuster and Armstrong that went off there for Nisbet, Shinnie and Dorrington. And certainly I think that's a nod to Sunday as well from Jimmy Tilleen, because let's be honest, it's the more important game now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it'd be a minor miracle if Aberdeen can win this one with the control that Strasbourg have, and I think Jimmy Tilleen has got to be the educated coach and look to the future and look to that game against Kilmarnock. Such an important game now that Aberdeen are in the top 6 and managed to get themselves, not by any magnificent play, perhaps the last 2 league games you would say that, but by dogged defending and being really difficult to beat. So they've got to try and build on that. So I would suggest that Jimmy Tilleen's making exactly the right moves here and just freshening it up, getting some fresh legs on the field of play and saving some for the game on Sunday.
Well, they're 5 points off third place Motherwell with a game in hand. Rangers just below Motherwell, but Aberdeen don't have a game in hand on Rangers, because their game in hand on Motherwell is against Rangers with a double-header at the start of 2026. Having that game been postponed for League Cup games earlier in the season. Aberdeen certainly back in the mix in terms of the European places, and that's classed out the park there as Lobben couldn't quite get onto it too much on the ball across from Nisbet, and Strasbourg throw-in. And Aberdeen, they look like they're not going to win this game with 10 to play plus stoppage time, but even if they can nick a goal and get a draw and extend their unbeaten run to 9, it just gives everyone a bit more spring in their step before they welcome Kilmarnock here as it's played forward, and Omobamidele heads it across and Nisbet picks it up, deflects off the Strasbourg player as Nisbet tried to play it forward. Now it's with Shinnie turning away from Panicelli, and then back to Milne. Some warm words for Liam Rossignol for Graham Shinnie in his press conference yesterday, because he worked with him at Derby County when he was an assistant there, to Frank Lampard and Wayne Rooney as well, as Shinnie goes back to Dorrington. Graham Shinnie's 31st European appearance for Aberdeen this evening, just the 1 goal. Still Not even half what you achieved, Willie, but still not bad going. Graham Shinney, 31 for Aberdeen in the European competition.
Yeah, it's good going, isn't it? You know, I mean, and I think he'll be relishing the opportunity to come on. He'd have been hoping maybe to play a bigger part in this game, I'm sure, but at the same time, I think you know, the younger players in midfield have shown enough recently that Jimmy Tilleen would find it really difficult to, you know, put Shinney ahead, even Nielsen ahead of any of them at this moment in time.
Here's Jensen, still just 1-0 to Strasbourg with 8.5 minutes of the 90 remaining. Jensen, he's been caught here, he's turned really well, he's done brilliantly, and then Nzingula slides in and takes the ball off him, but eventually the referee's whistle went for the pull of the jersey, and then Shinney smashes it into Nzingula, who hadn't retreated the 10 yards, and then he gets a yellow card. The 20-year-old Frenchman.
Well, I should know better, and yeah, you can't blame Graham Shinney for taking a swipe at the ball there, and the referee's right to get the yellow card out.
So free kick to Aberdeen, 10 yards into Strasbourg's half towards this main stand side at Pittodrie. Jimmy Tilleen perched on the edge of his technical area. We'll get his thoughts to you live on Sports Sounds between 10 and 11 tonight. And guys on air right till 11 p.m. Tom English and James McFadden in the studio chewing the fat over tonight's results. Defeat for Rangers in Budapest as Chilwell clears against Ferencváros. Celtic having been soundly beaten by Roma at home, and Aberdeen still just a one behind as Milanovic goes down the right hand side. Sliding challenge from Hogsburg, and he enjoyed that one. G'd up the away fans on the far side because he's also won the throw-in off Milanovic.
That's a good tackle from Hogsburg, isn't it? On Milanovic, the winger looking to go down the line right in front of the away fans as well, and it's excellently timed. You don't see too many really clean challenges like that in the modern game, but that was certainly one.
Aushish's header to Carlson, he strikes the volley, and that's into the Richard Donald stands. He's never shy of hitting them, Jesper Carlson. He was right to there, just the execution.
Yeah, it was. It was on to take the challenge, wasn't it? At the same time, it hasn't been as potent as you know, I've seen him in recent games, Carlson. But he is a threat. He's a major threat, Carlson, when he's on his game. And if he can get him into the right areas too, always willing to take the strike on, always confident that he can finish, always confident that he can hit the target. Unfortunately, on that occasion, it goes well over the bar.
Rabi Nzingula is being replaced by Diego Moreira. The 21-year-old Belgian is on, one of those who scored in that 3-3 draw with PSG in the league earlier this season. He's usually a first-choice left back / left wing back, so it looks like he's playing further forwards as he comes on here. He's standing next to Alexander Jensen. Goal kick to the visitors, and Penders has picked out a pass for Chilwell to run onto. It's a lovely pass, and then Panicelli, that one was just too far in front of him. Dorrington back to Mitov, back to Dorrington in his penalty area. And Aberdeen with 6 to play, trailing by a goal to 0. We'll see what stoppage time is added. Could have been more in the second half for Strasbourg. Mitov denying Doucouré on the penalty spot after Devlin fouled Godot. And then Mitov with 2 other excellent saves. And Nisbet, brilliant play, but he couldn't slide it to Carlson. Lashed down and out for a throw-in just in front of us here, the main stand at Pittodrie. And you feel like Aberdeen just, I don't know if Willie, they just need to try and go a bit more direct and get the crowd on side, win some throw-ins and corners, and just try and just G everything up a wee bit.
Well, you're only talking, you know, 5 plus stoppage time. There'll be a fair bit of stoppage time, but well, won't be that much, right enough, but maybe 4 minutes, something like that. But you've still got, you know, maybe 9-10 minutes perhaps, and just try to give the fans, just lift the fans, you know. And it doesn't have to be slick football. It doesn't have to be great build-up play. It's just about getting it into the opposition penalty box and trying to lift the crowd and lift yourself. If you lift the crowd, you will lift yourself on the park.
Aberdeen have given away the ball in the centre circle, and Amo Amayo taking it a run. Then he went down, wanted a free kick. Schroeder, the German referee, was unmoved, and now Aberdeen coming down the left-hand side through Jensen. Jensen with a reverse pass to Aushish. Just in from the touchline, tries to jink inside, but Moreira gets a touch on it. And the referee's given the throw in to Strasbourg which has me scratching my head along with a few others, but they are right next to it, as the referee then penalises Aushish for a tug of the jersey on Barco. 4 minutes to play. Aberdeen 0, Strasbourg 1. Aberdeen going to remain rooted on just the 2 points in their, albeit slim, hopes of Conference League progression are about to be extinguished unless they can find 2 goals in the closing moments here, which seems unlikely. They've had really just one chance in this second half when Lazatic was denied by Penders. That's all I've got written down in terms of clear opportunities for the home side, and now Panicelli wins it off Dorrington and plays it to the edge of the box. Poor header from Lamarichal. It comes off his arm and goes to Mitov, who gives it to Milanovic, and gallops forward to the touchline. Lobin offers, as does Shinnie square. Shinnie rolls it across the back line to Dorrington. Dorrington to Aushish. Aushish to Jensen. Jensen back to Aushish. And Aushish lifts it forwards. Carlson won't get there. It was a tough ask for him. Then Shinnie slides in, and that gets the fans going. And it's Carlson now. And the offside flag has belatedly gone up, which breaks down that move for Aberdeen.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but you know, even the positivity of Graham Shinnie there putting the challenge in, it lifts the crowd a little bit, doesn't it? And that's all you're looking for, because you know that you've come up against a top quality side here. They played extremely well. They've created opportunities. At 1-0, you know, it's close enough for Jimmy to lean to think and say positive things on the game. But it could have been more. Could be more. Could be 2, 3, perhaps even 4. And Aberdeen really struggled to create in the second half.
Amayo tries to win a corner off Jensen. He's managed it. Just did it. Nicked off the Aberdeen left wing back. I wonder if that is a position they'll look at as well in the January window. Jensen playing out of position on this side. Emmanuel Gyamfi is back on the bench tonight for Aberdeen, which is a positive, but he's not been a reliable figure in terms of his fitness since joining in the summer. As Barco gets ready to take this corner from the near side. Strasbourg looking to kill the game off. It's into the area. Good take from Mitov, edge of his 6-yard box, commanding stuff, and he rolls it to Shinnie. Shinnie slides the pass to Carlson just over halfway. Carlson looks up and then sends it in behind for the run of Aushish. Aushish gets there. He's wide of the box, and then the back heel inside is to no one. And Moreira and Amugu are able to work a little triangle along with Hogsberg, and it's comfortable stuff for Strasbourg now with Barco. Valentin Barco, formerly of Brighton, curls the ball over to Chilwell. Strasbourg have been able to leave some of their key men on the bench. I mentioned the captain Emega, who's out for disciplinary issues, didn't travel. They've also got Julio Enciso, who you might remember from a burst onto the scene at Brighton, the Paraguay attacking midfielder, but then had his Premier League career derailed by a series of injuries, and now he's at Strasbourg, as well as Sebastian Nanasi, the Swedish winger, who's got a couple of goals this season as well. Usually starts, so they've left some in reserve as Mitov gives the shout to his defenders as that ball goes over the top, and the goalkeeper picks it up and rolls it to Shinnie.
I tell you, the fans are enjoying themselves, aren't they? I think it's, is it Jingle Bells? What is it they're singing over there? Something festive anyway, and they're certainly bouncing up and down, so they're enjoying what they're seeing, what's on offer from Strasbourg. But Aberdeen still trying to, you know, get that goal that will give them a little bit of hope going into the last few minutes.
Jensen sends it into the box, and it was Milanovic who went up and just didn't have any conviction, and it dropped over his head in the end. It's not really where he wants the ball in terms of his heading ability. And we have 4 added minutes, as you predicted, Willie, at Pittodrie. Are we going to have some late drama? Certainly not looked like it in terms of Aberdeen scoring in the second half. Had plenty of chances in the first half. Goal disallowed for handball from Knuster. Here's Carlson in midfield, gives it to Milanovic, centre circle. Milanovic to Jensen. Jensen going down the left-hand side, gives it to Aushish. Aushish shimmies and gives it to Shinnie. Shinnie crosses from deep, and the defender gets a glancing header on it, and then Lamarichal helps it up into the air, bounces just in front of the D. Dorrington's header, then Aushish. Yengi picks up on the edge of the box. Aushish, sliding challenge. Referee looks at that one, decides no penalty. and it's cleared down the pitch by Amugu, and Milne controls.
Yeah, my instinct was that it was a really good challenge. The ball has went pretty positively where you would expect it to go when a challenge like that comes in from the side. Sheesh, it was, they were taking a little bit of a chance with the challenge, because I reckon it was inside the box, but for me, a really positive and well-timed tackle.
Played into the Strasbourg box. Doucouré gets there and he's under pressure from Yenge, so it's to hit it behind, but it's come off the Aberdeen player last. So goal kick is the call. And we've played a minute and a half of the 4 added minutes. Aberdeen still trailing to that first half goal from Martial Godot, and so heading for a third defeat in this Conference League campaign, which has really never caught fire. You feel like if Aberdeen had performed in the first half like they did in the first half here against Noah, they might have at least picked up a victory against the Armenians, but didn't really manage it, as Nisbet, who scored in that first half in that game, plays it for Carlson, who runs into the box wide of the goal, comes in. Aushish can't get it out his feet, still going though, and then the challenge from Omo Bamadele turns it behind for an Aberdeen corner.
That's positive stuff late on in the game. Not too many minutes to go, but Carlson really positive again, and Aushish, good support work from Aushish. A little bit unfortunate, couldn't get the break of the ball. Some good defending as well, but a corner is won.
And it is Adil Aushish on the near sides, right-footed, floats it to the 6-yard box. Punch from Penders, the goalkeeper. Aushish will go after it, and there's a touch from Amo Amayo. Was that behind for another corner? No, he's kept it in and lashed it up the line. Goes out for an Aberdeen throw-in. Carlson wants to get on with it, throws it to Jensen, and we've got about 1 minute of the added time left. Carlson stands it up to the back post, but comfortable for the goalkeeper, and it stays Aberdeen 0, Strasbourg 1, and some fans have seen enough. I don't think that is that, with a minute left, and the French side in control of the ball on the scoreboard as Penders sends it long. Good touch from Panicelli to Le Marichal, and then he returns it to the Frenchman wide of the box, comes in on the right foot and then slides it towards the penalty spot. Good interception from Dorrington. Now it's Nisbet, and a chance here to break. Carlson's forward. There's plenty of white shirts back, but Carlson goes down the side of the box, gets the cross into the edge of the 6-yard box, and the defender on the stretch, Omo Bamadele, has to turn it over the top of his own crossbar.
Yeah, well, Carlson at his best there again, down the left-hand side and drilling the ball up. Exactly the right ball to drill as well, and I think, Yenge maybe needs to be a little bit sharper, making the run a little bit more positive, but, he's still there. If the defender doesn't get the touch on it, then Yenge's certainly going to have an effort and goal. So, even this late in the game, Aberdeen still creating an opportunity.
This will be the last play, I think. Corner kick to Aberdeen. Can they snatch a draw at the death? It won't be enough to keep qualification hopes alive, but it will maintain their unbeaten run. Here it comes, corner, flash to the near post, Penders flaps at it, drops for Carlson, gets there on the right foot, shoots, deflected, up in the air, it's bouncing about in the 6-yard box, and then Yenge can't hit it, and then he lays it back, and it's blocked again, as Dorrington looked to send it back into the box. Throw into Aberdeen on this near side, throw into Aushish onto the right foot, dummies the cross, then sends it back in, back post, goalkeeper claims it, and that'll be that. Referee looks at his watch, and Aberdeen's chance to snatch a draw is gone, and it is defeat for Aberdeen, as a yellow card is issued to Barco after the whistle for some complaints. But Aberdeen lose again in the Conference League, and their hopes of progressing beyond the league phase are over. Strasbourg run out narrow winners in the end. Aberdeen with a really promising first half display, despite going behind after 35 minutes to Martial Godot's goal after a defensive mix-up from Milne and Devlin, but they couldn't sustain it in the second half. Ran out of steam in the attacking sense, and really had Dimitar Mitov to thank for the fact that it was only 1-0 by the end. He saved a penalty from Doucouré after Devlin fouled Godot, and he pulled off another 2 fantastic stops to deny Martial Godot, one from a header and one from a shot as well. So in the end up Aberdeen fall short against a really good Strasbourg side, it has to be said, who are top of the pile in the Conference League and one of the favourites to win the competition. And all Aberdeen can now do is take the positives into their resurgent domestic form and try and kick on again against Kilmarnock on Sunday. Full time at Pittodrie, match day 5 in the Conference League. It finished Aberdeen 0, Strasbourg 1.